Julia here from JM2 Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the past few days. There's some really interesting sales here to talk about. Like, there's very little bread and butter in this shipment. So this should be an interesting one, hopefully for you guys. But before we get started here, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, it's getting a little bit late in the afternoon. I gotta get these things packed up and off to the post office. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. All right, so we'll start this off with a men's piece. This is from Paul Smith, and admittedly, in my head, I constantly confuse Paul Smith and Paul Frank. And Paul Smith is like a really high-end men's designer, where Paul Frank is a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, a little bit more whimsical. He was really kind of big in the 90s. If you find some Paul Frank pieces from the 90s, you should for sure pick them up. But this shirt, I don't know if you can see it, is all over embroidered, super lightweight cotton. It's really, really pretty. And these shirts retail like $500 or $600. His regular button-down shirts retail for about $200 to $300, but the all-over embroidered ones much, much higher. Now, they're not selling for $160 or anything like that, but these are still a very serious sales price that you should feel comfortable paying up for. You'll see anywhere between like $40 and $80. This one is probably the least of the desirable ones, the ones that sell for those higher price points. And some of them go up into the hundreds, have multicolor embroidery, kind of similar to what you see with like a Johnny Was, that really beautiful, colorful embroidery. So keep your eyes out for that. Again, embroidery embellishment is something that especially when I'm digging through the bins, I always have my eyes out for. So this is the kind of thing where it can really pay off. I think that there are a lot of people that know Paul Smith, but not as many, especially like in the reseller world, that are looking for like a Johnny Was, right? I don't do a ton of menswear, but I'm learning more as I go. And really that kind of eye towards knowing what a good quality piece looks like is helping me find these kind of sleeper pieces. So anyway, I had this one listed for just 3 weeks. And I had it listed at $60 and I got an offer for $48, which I did accept. This is a sale over on eBay with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $36.84. So I hope he loves it. This is like the kind of beautiful piece that I just, like the thought of it going into the waste stream gives me like the vapors. Next up, now this is an interesting one. This is Tommy Hilfiger, but it's vintage Tommy Hilfiger. Now this is a very basic top, and with it being a fairly basic shirt, you should probably not ever pay up for it. This is like a bins only thing to pick up. However, I want you to take a note of that label, right? The Tommy Hilfiger with the big flag in the middle. That is the tag from the 90s. And while something like this will go for somewhere around $20, again, a great little profit if I'm getting it at bins prices, and a great shirt. Like if you're looking for a blue Oxford shirt, you know, by all means pick this up. This is really nice quality. But while you are out thrifting, if you see something that is like a bold color block, like red and blue here, or you know what I'm saying, like those kind of more bolder colors that Tommy did back in the 90s, and it has that label, pick it up. Some of those pieces are going into the hundreds of dollars. So now I know that they've done reissues, so you need to make sure that it's got that vintage tag on it. The newer tag just says Tommy Hilfiger all in a row with a tiny little flag in between the words. That being said, if you are looking for a wildly well-made Oxford shirt for about $20, check out the vintage Tommy Hilfiger ones, because they can be got for a pretty reasonable rate, or keep your eyes out in the thrift store. I don't get my hands on a lot of vintage Tommy because this is the kind of stuff that like the bins bros in my location go hard for. So to even find a basic piece was kind of a coup, you know? Either way, I had this listed for 2 months exactly, and I had it listed for $28 and I got an offer for $24 over on eBay, which I did accept with a $2 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $20.70. I hope he loves it. Again, a really nicely made piece, but for sure, remember that tag because there is money to be made in vintage Tommy. Next up, this is a fun one that's about to bring all the 80s babies to Nostalgia Junction. These are some vintage Jordache jeans. I mean, look at this, look at the back. So I learned while I was listing this that the fact that it has no pockets is referred to in the jean world as bareback. So make sure you're using that if you ever find a pair of jeans like this that doesn't have a pocket in the rear. The crazy thing is that when I got this, there was a guy next to me at the bins and he was kind of doing his final wrap up of the day. And I guess he decided that he didn't want these. He turns to me and is like, would you want these? And I'm like, yes, I would. 100% I will take those. What I'm saying is if you ever catch me saying no to a pair of true 80s vintage Jordache jeans, I'm giving you license right now to slap me across the face, okay? And it's funny, when I was a kid, I hated jeans. I don't think I wore jeans until like maybe 5th or 6th grade. And feeling these, I can 100% understand why. I don't mind rigid denim, but these feel pretty uncomfortable. Very high, very form-fitted, pretty scratchy on the inside. Was anybody else like that as a kid? Was there anybody else that was like a legging or skirt kid? I feel like I hear that from time to time with moms where like their kids will refuse to wear jeans. I mean, after the whole pandemic situation, like, respect. Anyway, I had these listed for about 3 months. That's about what I would expect for like a vintage piece. In general, my vintage pieces will take a little bit longer to sell, but they'll sell for a better price. I had this listed for $58 for just about 3 months. Got an offer for $49, which I did accept with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $42.44. And this was another eBay sale. So I hope she loves them because they are so absolutely ridiculous. Next up, now this is something that I will pick up anytime I see it. This is a little sunshine yellow log and look style linen tunic. This is one of those brandless linen pieces. It's like made in Italy. But these pieces sell, especially in these kind of unusual silhouettes. This is a longer tunic with a pretty tall slit in the back. This had kind of 2 things going for it other than the fact that it's, you know, made in Italy linen, which people love. Well, 3 things. Number 1, it's got pockets, which, why do we still have to be excited about that? Okay? Why do we still have to be excited about that? That should be table stakes. I think I speak for every woman on this planet that we are happy to pay the $2 extra that it costs to get those pockets put in. Happy to pay it. So it has the pockets, it's got the unusual kind of vlog and look shape, but I think more than anything is the color, this sunshine yellow. I literally just made a TikTok this morning, if you're not following me there. Handles are right here. Come join if you partake. Just made a TikTok this morning talking about these kind of more saturated colors. This is looking a lot more butter yellow on the camera than it is. A little bit of a brighter yellow. These kind of saturated colors are hard to find in general. Like for the last like 10 years or so, there hasn't been many super saturated colors on trend. It's been a lot of pastels, it's been a lot of neutrals, it's been a lot of like dusty colors. And there's a lot of people who look a lot better in a saturated, like a jewel tone or whatever. Like me being one of them. I look terrible in most pastels. You know, like there's very specific light blues that I can pull off, but it's gotta be a very icy light blue. Like a dusty light blue makes me look dead. It makes my skin look redder than it already is. You know what I'm saying? So like if you find these saturated colors in a higher quality textile, linen, a nice cotton, a wool, you know, even if it's a brand that you don't normally pick up. The one I was talking about this morning was from Max Studio. It was this beautiful like tangerine orange linen shirt. Pick it up because people are looking for it. And yes, you're not gonna get $35, $40 for it. You know, you're gonna get, for that shirt, I think I got $22, but It's sold really quickly because it's one of those colors that is just hard to find. So make sure like you're paying attention to these richer colors because people are looking for them. Anyway, I had this listed for about 4 months and I had it listed for $34. I sent an offer for $30, which was accepted with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $22 even, and this was a Poshmark sale. These kind of things typically sell the best on either Poshmark or eBay. That's been kind of my experience with the unbranded linen stuff. Next up, we've got another kind of interesting thing. This is a men's shirt from a brand or a designer called Fernando Pena. And it's a brand I didn't know, but it felt nice. It's like a cotton linen blend. It's band collar. It's kind of a boxy fit with a straight bottom. The quality on this is really nice, but sold comps were on the lower side. But here's been my experience with these men's shirts. Anything that I found recently, I literally pulled this up in my spreadsheet. Any kind of men's shirt that is like linen or linen cotton, this kind of mix, has sold in like 2 days for me. Over at least the past year, which is like the data that I pulled up. They're not always selling for, a huge amount of money, but they are selling lightning quick, which I think, speaks to the fact that there's just less menswear on these platforms in general, but more so that there's less of this, kind of higher quality textile menswear, like a linen shirt. And I mean, I looked at all the ones that I got this year. I had like 2 Vince shirts, 2 like no-name men's shirts. I had one that was H Brothers, which I didn't really know. I have this one. And there were 2 or 3 others that I didn't really know. And every one of them was like sold in 2 or 3 days. So if you are looking for those really quick flip items, keep your eyes out for men's linen pieces. And if you've had the same experience, let me know so we can, make sure that this isn't something that is just isolated in, my business. So anyway, I had this listed for $24 and within 2 days, I got an offer for $18 with a $2 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $14.75. And this was a Depop sale, interestingly enough. And I will also note, now that I just remembered that, about half of the men's linen shirts that I sold this year went on Depop. So that's worth like a deep dive into the data for me. All right, next up. Now this is one you should probably all know by now, but if you see any official Taylor Swift merch, you should pick that up. You would probably recognize it because all of the authentic Taylor Swift merch has custom tags in it, but they sell, like initially, they sell pretty high dollar. And on the resale market, depending on what it is that you have, they can sell very, very high. If you find one of the authentic cardigans, I'm talking some of those go into the hundreds, sometimes 200, maybe even a little bit higher. But even the hoodies, the tour hoodies, and this is not just Taylor Swift. This is a lot of the big time acts right now, like Billie Eilish tour merch also sells very, very well, Charli XCX. But Taylor, in terms of like mass appeal, her stuff probably sells the best. And strangely enough, this is the second piece that I found. I feel like it's pretty unusual to find these things in the bins because they had to make it through a thrift store before they got there. Both of the ones that I found had tags on them from the thrift. So I had this listed for just about 1 month. I had a lot of interest in it and a lot of like lowball offers on it, which I know I can hold out on a Taylor Swift piece because I know it will sell. Anyway, I had it listed for $55 and it popped through as a full price sale over on Poshmark. So with the $2 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $42. I hope she loves it. They are hard to get your hands on these days. So if you see one, grab it. Next up, now this is an interesting one. This is a t-shirt, and I picked it up initially because the t-shirt itself felt super nice. And the brand on this is Norse Projects, and I was not familiar with this brand at all, but like the tag gave me a moment of pause. This is like a woven, like something you would see on like a keychain or like a bracelet. So I grab it and I do a little research on it. The brand itself is quite expensive, and this piece is a collaboration that they did with an artist named, I think his name is George McFeckridge, and he did these collab pieces with them, and they sold for I think $99 new, and on the resale market they're going between like $30 and $50 depending on the piece. It's in pretty much perfect condition, so this was a good find. I'm interested, has anybody else ever found anything from Norse Projects? I feel like this is something that would be a little bit more prominent in like maybe more action sports related areas like Colorado, something like that. I feel like their vibe is a little bit more in that action sports world. It was one of those things that the quality kind of led the way for me discovering what this was. And for sure, if any of you guys haven't seen it, but you do see it while you're out and about, make sure you're picking it up because the interest is there. So I had this listed for just 1 month, and I will tell you that as soon as I listed this, I got so much like action on this, so many looks, so many likes, and it kind of fell off after a week, but I'm sure that was just because it was, you know, not as new anymore. But just the fact that it got that much interest tells me that this is something that people are looking for. So I had it listed for, again, 1 month, and I had it listed for $48, and I got an offer for $38, which I did accept with a $2 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $33.26, and this was also an eBay sale. I will say most of the interest that I got on it when I first posted it was over on Depop. So I don't know if there's a narrative there, just letting you know kind of what the experience was. This is one that I've had for a while, and I just thought that this is so special. So this is from a brand called Silk. This is vintage, and that's CYLK. And this is Y2K vintage, like couldn't be more Y2K vintage with that liquid print. Look at that hemline. It's 100% silk, lined in silk if memory serves me right, absolutely lined in silk. So, so pretty. And I've had a lot of interest in this over the year, and because I've had it just over a year. I knew it was gonna be a very specific buyer, but I knew it was something special. I've had a couple low balls on it. I know I've had it for a while, and there are certain things that I'm not gonna really bend on, and this was one of them. I just knew it was special. And I knew the right buyer was gonna come along. I was not gonna let this go for like $10. It's just, I mean, this is one of those ones, truly, find another. I've never heard of this brand before. I have never seen it since. I couldn't find like anything on it. I believe it's UK based. I mean, this is gonna be the kind of thing that somebody's gonna wear to like a club, and like there's no chance. There's less than zero chance that anybody is gonna show up wearing the same thing, you know? And they're gonna get asked about this dress, because it's so unusual. That hemline is so special. Let me know if you guys have, like, what pieces have you had that you just kind of stuck to your guns on because you knew that they were special? Have you ever had anything like this? I just, you know, my gut just told me, like, hold on to this. The right person will come for this and they will love it. Either way, I had this listed again for just about a year, and I had it listed for $42, and I got an offer, and we went back and forth, and we landed on $30 for this. And I was happy to move it on, but I was also happy to not be moving it on at a lowball offer, right? I would have held on to this for another 5 years, and to tell you the truth, if I find another one tomorrow, 150%, I will buy it. I don't care if it sits for a year. This is a cool, special, very unique piece. Anyway, with a $1 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $23 even, and I hope she loves this dress as much as I love this dress. Again, just a total little treasure that is just one of a kind. Next up, this one is going to one of you guys. This is from, you know, I'll tell you, you know when you're really self-conscious about the way that you say something, even though you've been told that you're saying it right, but it still feels wrong? This is from Desal. And I hate saying this so much to the point where I'm like, well, maybe I just won't pick up those pieces anymore. And that's crazy because I love their pieces. And this is going to one of you guys, and that makes me so happy. It's this adorable like dolman sleeve top with this embellishment. There's sequins and beadings over here. I mean, their pieces have so much character and personality. You can spot one of their pieces from a million miles away. You just know exactly who it is. And this one's brand new with tags. The details are always thought about on their pieces. Like there's not a stitch on there that isn't considered part of the overall design. Like even the overlock stitch around the neckline is gold. I would love, oh my God, I would love to just spend a day in their designer's room. Number one, just to see the fabrics. And just leave me for a day in their fabric room and their trim room, and I'll be a happy girl, right? But I would love to see the creative process that brings their designs to life, because everything has this level of personality and joy to it. There are a few like don't get me wrong, I would love to be in any designer's design room, but there are a few that I would enjoy being in more than Desal. I'm just gonna keep saying it, so hopefully I get comfortable with it. Anyway, I had this listed for about a week and a half, and I had it listed at $32 and got an offer for $24, which I gladly accepted. With a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $18.78, and this was over on eBay. And oh, I hope you absolutely love this. Next up, this was a Mercari sale. This is an adorable top from Free People. This is from We The Free. I think this is called the So Cozy cowl neck. It's this beautiful 100% cotton in this seafoam green blue that I just love. And this sold fairly quickly, but you know, this is the kind of thing from Free People that's always a little bit of a crapshoot, because this is a size extra small. And I'll tell you right now, this could easily fit up to like an extra large. This is very, very oversized. It's kind of where my main beef with the Poshmark's My Size comes into play. Like, I know that for the most part, you know, whatever, 2 sizes for most things, but you know, when it comes to something like a Free People where their sizing is so all over the place, I can fit into an extra small in some of their pieces, and I can also fit into a 2XL in some of their pieces, depending on what the piece is. So I understand that they're trying to make it easy that we automatically have things sorted by our size, but between the fact that we can't sort by sizes other than either by my size or all sizes, and the fact that there are categories for which we're not able to select my size, makes it a pretty rough experience. It feels just kind of like hodgepodge. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm able to search by my size in shirts, but I'm not able to search for my size in like overalls or robes, or I think it's only like tops, pants, dresses, and maybe shoes that they have. But they're, you know, jackets. There are other categories of clothing out there that you just like, you don't have a choice. You just basically have to search through all sizes, which is also one of the big reasons that I put sizes in the title, because a lot of people search like that because they have that kind of bad experience using their size search function. So I had this listed for $32 for 1 month exactly. I'm trying to make notes here. And I got an offer for $24, which I did accept with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $18.88. So I hope she loves it. It is a cute piece. So beachy, such an easy like summer sweater there. Next up, these are a pair of Lululemon shorts. Now, we've talked ad nauseum about how we are slowing down picking up Lululemon leggings, and Lululemon in general is getting kind of oversaturated. I think there's a lot of like palettes out there, and just the demand has dropped for leggings in general, unless they're flare leggings. But their shorts for both women and men, like their woven shorts, still really in high demand. The hottie hot shorts still very much in demand, especially in like the teenage world. Their kind of casual wear is still really sought after. Their scuba sweatshirts, definitely. Their workout tops and their leggings have definitely slowed. Which is to say, if you're in the market for stuff like that, now's a great time to pick it up, because you can get some of that stuff for a great deal. But I will still be keeping my eyes out for the shorts, especially men's stuff, the ABC pants as well, still really, really good sellers. Anyway, I have this listed for $34 for about 2 weeks. These shorts will go between like $20 and like $35 depending on what they are. So obviously like run that through your calculations and your costs before you decide to buy one. But I had these listed at $34 for just 2 weeks. And I got an offer for $25, which I did accept with a $2 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $18 even, and this was a Poshmark sale. So I hope she loves them. My like holy grail shorts are Lululemon, and I just love them. I talked about them in another video and I linked them, and it looks like they're no longer making them, but I think they're called like the woven high-rise shorts. They look like tailored shorts, but they're like a tech fabric, and they have an elastic waist and pockets and everything. But like if you were to see them, you would look like you were wearing like a pair of chino shorts, but with all of the function of a tech. Oh, it's a dream, especially if you're going somewhere on vacation and you might be around water, you're gonna go to a waterfall somewhere, you know, like these are the goat shorts. I'll see if I can link it down below, and I'll make sure that even if they don't have any for sale, like you can look up that specific title to see if you can find one on the secondhand market. They were not cheap, worth every penny. And I don't say that about much. And finally here, we've got this amazing pair of 90s vintage men's leather trousers. Now, I'm just gonna say this at the onset, if you see leather pants, no matter what the fit is, you're gonna buy the leather pants. Don't go paying $50 for the leather pants. If you're at the bins, absolutely take them and run away like you stole them. If you're at the regular thrift and they're 10 bucks, you're gonna buy them. Buy the leather pants. These are men's, these are straight out of the 90s. They look like they came, you know, fresh from a nightclub in Berlin, but they're in overall fantastic condition. You can tell that they've been worn a good amount, so they're nice and supple despite the age. This is the kind of stuff I will pick up anytime I see it, no matter what. Because think about it this way, like even cheap leather skirts or cheap leather pants, cheap, even the cheapest pair you can find new are gonna be a minimum of like $50 to $75. Leather is not cheap. Even cheap leather is not cheap. And if you want a nice pair of leather pants, if you want a nice leather skirt, you're looking at several $100s. And these are the kind of things that exist outside of trends. Like yes, they will absolutely have times when a leather trouser is more popular or a leather skirt is more popular, but in general, it's always in style. Think about it how you think about Log and Look, right? Like Log and Look does not adhere to any style. It is a lifestyle unto itself. It is a signature style unto itself. And leather is very much the same way. So I had these listed for just 3 weeks and I had a lot of questions about them. I will say if you do find a pair of leather pants or a skirt that's vintage, make sure you're putting measurements on it. Leather will stretch to mold a body, but if it's something that, you know, like first of all, for vintage things, you should always have measurements because sizes change over time, but just to be extra careful with it, people want to make sure that this is going to fit them and then mold to their body, not have to be molded to their body immediately out of the package. But I did have a lot of questions about these and a lot of interest in them, but they were only listed for 3 weeks, so I'm not surprised about that. Anyway, I had these listed for $65 and got an offer for $50, which I did accept. With the $2 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $44.79, and this was a sale over on eBay. So I hope he loves them. These are, you know, again, how often are you able to get a pair of leather pants that are broken in right out of the bag? That is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. It is always so nice to have somebody to yak with. But as I mentioned, guys, I am running late, so I've got to get these things into my car and over to the post office. So if you guys had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next